Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching this video. This is the second episode on our updates in blockchain and Devil with Tom Anderson. And today we're going to talk about something that I believe is going to be of great interest for you, the Metaverse, or how we like to call it, the new digital financial ecosystem. So, hi, Tom.
Well, I'm excited to be talking with you again.
Great. So let's start introducing Litcraft, if you like. Just a
Sure.
short introduction of what we're doing in the Litcraft world.
Okay. Yeah. So, as a quick background for everybody leading into the digital financial ecosystem, um, we're building it with a game called Litcraft Experience as a beachhead. And so, Litcraft Experience is kind of the first application within this overall digital financial ecosystem, which is more encompassing in general. But the Litcraft portion of the ecosystem is kind of an exciting place to be starting. So, Litcraft itself is a sci-fi fantasy universe um, where the high level concept is that there's mages that are living right under our noses, and there's a lot of literature and storytelling over time that has concepts like that. But Litcraft is really different in a lot of ways. It's very kind of deep and rich in its society. It has a very kind of complex and thought out magical system. The magical system and the society and all of the creatures are all built within an overall just kind of fundamental, how do you say it, just like metaphysical concepts that are kind of brought together within this overall universe. So it's just a fun kind of platform for doing storytelling. And overall, we hope that Litcraft becomes one of the big IPs in the world, alongside big things like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars and Star Trek or Harry Potter or the Marvel studios, right? So that's the hope, is that eventually Litcraft will be one of those kind of big IPs, ultimately with TV shows and movies, and we've already got games and books and things like that. So the Litcraft Experience game, kind of going more specifically into the aspect of Litcraft that is kind of starting out this overall digital financial ecosystem. The Litcraft Experience game is a game that you can play and earn, or play. Really, I think the category people have in the crypto space have called it play to earn. I think more importantly in the broader video game industry is play to own. The idea that you play games and you own the assets that you create in the games is a really compelling concept, and is kind of fundamental to the philosophies of Litcraft Experience. And so in the game you can start playing for free, no charge to get started. You don't have to buy monsters to battle with to get started. You could just jump right in. Some of the initial gameplay is similar to Minecraft, where you go and you dig out land and get assets, and then those assets you can craft into more and more complicated things. You can play other types of earning games, ranging from simple games that we all like solitaire or Sudoku, to match three games like Candy Crush Saga, to merge games, which is a popular genre on mobile right now, to a card battling game that's really pretty sophisticated and popular with our community. On ultimately to We're working on a space shooter where you can mine asteroids in space and fly around and shoot in space. We want to have a first-person shooter. We want to have building applications, kind of like you do in Minecraft, things like that. So it's a broad ecosystem of games, and then thousands of different types of tokens and assets. You can craft them into more and more complicated things. You can build a business, and earn in the virtual business itself. And then ultimately, there's fiat off ramps, ways to actually make real world money by selling items that you create in the game on our glassblock.io marketplace. So that's kind of a high level summary.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. And today I prepared some questions for you. And the first one, it's a lot of blockchain games are built around the greater full concept, meaning that the first people to join have the most potential to earn the most, right? How is Litcraft's economic structure different?
Sure. So I didn't know the questions coming into it, so that's actually a good question, and it's a little bit of a spin on other questions we've gotten. So I'm glad you're asking it that way. So one of the things I think that is valuable in getting involved with Litcraft Experience and the overall digital financial ecosystem, and especially where the digital financial ecosystem is going longer term, is getting involved early lets you kind of establish yourself. And I think those that do get in early will, be able to take advantage of having gotten funds early and use those funds to grow other areas of interest. So that's I think it's like critical and necessary, for other games. And you don't want that to be kind of a main driver, because it ends up being something where only the people that got in early are able to get upside if you do it incorrectly. So rewarding people that are supporting, the ecosystem early and supporting the effort early, those folks should, have some upside and get involved with something that becomes bigger. That's the hope. But you don't want it to turn into something that it's all weighted on the bottom, and you don't want it to be the last fool's theory where only the first people got in, and later people do poorly, right? That's critical to make sure that you don't implement it that way. So the way that Litcraft is designed, like, and the digital financial ecosystem, and this digital financial ecosystem is more broadly, a lot of Devio's efforts. Also, Devio is the company that obviously made the DevX blockchain that Litcraft is running on. And so the way the overall digital financial ecosystem works is it's built to be an ecosystem, not just a balance of issuances versus sinks, which is how a lot of blockchain games are created, but more a system where everybody's efforts all interrelate with everybody else's efforts, and the efforts that one person is doing, have value to another person, and then that person's efforts have value to another person, and it ends up being circular. And so in the real world, you have people that work at a tech company like Devio, right? And they get their salary. And then those folks go to the grocery store or a restaurant and spend money on food. The restaurant, bought kind of the base food, materials, the ingredients to build, their to build their products and sell their food. And then they hire their workers, and then those workers might go buy, an iPhone, right? And then Apple has its, employees, right? And then it goes on and on. It's all just one big economy, and it's circular. Everybody that's working within the economy is kind of doing their part. Construction to retail to, tech to, food, whatever. So Litcraft is, and the experience and the overall digital financial ecosystem are designed that same way. So, for example, if you create a digital business in Litcraft experience, you can level that business up. And that even also is like real life. Just like in real life, you have to kind of really work hard over a time period, grow your business. In the early days, maybe it's lean. You use some of your own money, or borrow some money from friends and family, or in a high tech, raise money, and then work towards profitability. So businesses in the Litcraft experience ecosystem are the same. And then as a business gets more sophisticated, it needs more requirements. So in Litcraft experience, that's actually leveling up your business, and a level 2 versus level 4 versus level 7 business needs ultimately things like marketing and accounting. And when you first start a business in the real world, maybe you just use QuickBooks. And with Litcraft experience, same thing. You don't have to get accounting points for a level 0 business, kind of a gig economy type of business. But if you have a level 7 business or level 10 business, you start to grow to a point where you really do need accounting points. And just like in the real world, like, you're not going to become an expert accountant and get a degree and become, pass the bar for, as a lawyer, and, learn how to be a coder at the same time you also become a marketing expert, right? You can't do everything yourself. And so similarly in the Litcraft experience ecosystem, as you get a higher level business, you get the accounting points from somebody else, you get the legal points from somebody else, you get often the products that you're going to create, or at least the elements that create your products, from somebody else. A baker doesn't go out and create a farm and grow their own wheat, right? They just buy a bag of flour to, bake their bread or donuts or whatever, right? And so you end up with lots of different people specializing in what they like. And in our case, Some of it turns into real world implementations, like the marketing points that you use in a business come from real world marketing, where you retweet or you help spread the word in the real world, which is a really compelling concept. I mean, that's a really neat concept that you go out and help spread the word about the ecosystem in the game. You get marketing points, and then those marketing points are what businesses use as their marketing points. So your efforts, are valuable to somebody else in a marketing sense. And the end result then is you can focus on what you want. If you want to play a game like, in this case, Sudoku is the game that creates accounting points. So in Sudoku, you make sure the lines line up, everything adds up perfectly. It is a lot like accounting, right? So you play Sudoku, you get accounting points. If that's the game you like, just play that game, get accounting points, sell them on the Glass Block marketplace, and just like real life, you focus on what you want to focus on. And so the end result, in summary, answering your question, how do we prevent just the earliest people from getting in, is that the overall system was designed as a broad ecosystem where everybody has a role, everybody can specialize, and it's not just a system built on growth. It's a system that's built on, just like any economy, going through ups and downs. And when the economy is going down, the overall economy and system still work.
That does sound like the new digital financial ecosystem of the future. And thank you for clarifying that. I believe it was a very important question for the community. And our next topic then is, just like in a real economy where people can't do anything, do players manage the complexity of the game? How do they manage the complexity of the game?
Okay, good. Another good question, and worded in a way that I haven't heard quite yet. So that's good. I appreciate spending the effort figuring out good questions. Thank you. So in general, a big part of what we're leading this digital financial ecosystem with is gaming. And ultimately, it's going to be broader than just gaming. As I described in kind of that last answer, we take things like real world marketing, real world efforts on social media, and bring those as a representation of that effort as tokens into the digital financial ecosystem. So that's a compelling concept, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other ways that one could just take what they're focused on. So if you like social media and that's where you like to live and you like to spend your effort and you want to earn there, you can do that, right? Another thing that we're going to want to do is have things like ESG tokens, environmental, social, and governance tokens. So things like carbon credits or carbon offsets, or plastics tokens or methane offsets, or even social tokens, things like that. We want those to enter the economy, the digital economy, and let people, while they're interacting in this digital economy, or even while they're playing, know that their efforts and money they're spending and then money they're even earning, just the whole economy, is actually tied into things that are doing real good in the world, where interactions you're having in this economy ultimately literally lead to plastic being taken out of the ocean, for example. And so the overall digital financial ecosystem is kind of starting with a number of games you can play, but really expanding into just broader variety of real world concepts. And the big vision is that it could encompass everything that humanity does, including tracking all types of human endeavor itself. So it's a big vision. But then I wanted to kind of give that background then to answer your question, right? So then you say, well, how do you make it easy for users? How do people onboard? How do you make it a good initial experience? And so that gets to kind of traditional game design and gamification, and you do want to make it a good initial experience. So the way Litcraft Experience works is you start playing the game and you get tasks, right? And it'll say dig in the land. And so you just click on the screen, very simple, just dig on the land, like Minecraft, right? And until you get a red gem, and then a little thing pops up, click on it. Okay, great job. Red gems can be used to improve your digging level. Now dig a little bit more until you've got 8 red gems, and you keep digging, you've got 8. Good job. Now you can go and buy some more red gems in the inventory. And then you can play a game where you craft a pickaxe. Then you could play a game where you take the red gems that you got before and craft a red gem result that's craftable with the pickaxe that you got. So it takes you step by step, how to play the game. And so really to play the game, you just jump in and just follow the task system, and it gives you very easy, simple steps with instructions on each step, how to play. So it's very easy. Also, one of the things that we're adding for kind of an upcoming version of the game, I'm really excited that we're coming out with our version 4 of Litcraft Experience on April 22nd, 2023, so Earth Day this year. We picked Earth Day because, again, all of the ESG things that overlap with our company. So on that Earth Day release, we're going to have lots of other, kind of new games that we haven't had in the system before, and we're adding some new user interface as well. So you can come in, you can play the main game, follow the task system, or you can just jump straight into the earning games. So things like solitaire or Sudoku, right? And a lot of people already know how to play those. So if you like solitaire, you can download Litcraft Experience, just click on solitaire and just start playing it, right? And then have fun, interact with it, earn some things. The tokens that you earn, again, you can sell on the glassblock.io marketplace if you want, but it's easy to just jump right in. And then the last bit that we're adding that makes it easier for people to jump in and learn is a new community effort called Lit Legion. And so Lit Legion lets people do tasks and then earn based on these real world tasks that you do. You almost might think of it as a real world MMO, massively multiplayer online game itself. So you could come in and that's where we'll implement things like the marketing points where you retweet. You'll get a task in Lit Legion to retweet a tweet, but you could do other things, right? So in Lit Legion, you could we could have a task that says create a guide on how to craft the red gems, and somebody could create a video and a guide, and then that goes into our wiki. So our community is going to get upside within this overall digital financial ecosystem to make it easier for other new players to come in. And then that also just goes hand in hand with the amazing community we have. Like you can jump into our Telegram group and ask a question, and there's lots of friendly, respectful people that answer right away. It's like one of the best groups I've ever had. To me, it's the best group I've ever seen on Telegram. So between kind of the easy, just jump in and play games you're familiar with, just get into the main game where you can build ultimately businesses and just follow the task system, or the community interactions where community members can help you or provide content that gives walkthroughs and things like that. It really is designed for beginners to just jump in and start having fun right away.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It's just like a dream economic system, right? And I'm very excited about this because I feel like it will allow the access to people that perhaps they don't know this type of economics, right? Like this type of systems that we just imagine sometimes, but we never actually be part of it. It's just gonna be there for them to explore and be part of it, and that's really exciting for me.
One thing about that I think is important is a lot of the original vision of Devio, like, why are we doing this, right? We're building a real business, and it can be a good, profitable business and make money. But a big part of the vision of what we're doing, and why we're spending our time on this versus something else is, the vision of what we can really accomplish and the impact that blockchain can have on the world, and the importance of kind of responsibly growing these efforts in a way that really helps people. And so, a big vision of what we want to do with Devio as a whole is let people, fulfill their potential, make sure everybody in the world has the resources they need in order to fulfill their potential, remove middlemen where they're not needed, let people, directly take part in the value that they create. Too much of the world's interactions right now financially are middlemen who have control over distribution and access to customers, take too much, in my view, of the value that people lower in the value chain are creating. And so blockchain is kind of a system. It represents technology that can create a system that's an equalizer, that removes middlemen, that lets people just directly take part in the value that they create. And again, with the gaming system is the gaming side of it is an initial beachhead, but it's a beachhead into this bigger digital financial ecosystem vision. And part of what, even on the gaming side, I hope, is that there's people in developing nations who can earn a better living than they might otherwise be able to, and again get resources to fulfill their potential. And then especially as you start adding in real world concepts like the plastics tokens we're planning to add in, things like that, and you have that philosophy built in from the beginning, it can turn into, to me, this just massive force for good in the world as well.
Yes, this is the type of projects, the type of companies you wanna support, you wanna follow, and you wanna be part of it, and that's
You
what
want to be part of this type of thing, right? Yep.
exactly. So we invite the people that are part of our community to just help us keep growing this amazing
Right.
community.
Yep,
So
definitely.
the last topic I would like to talk is you touch on this, but could you elaborate more about the difference between play to earn games and your vision of play to own?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So, uh, just a bit of background kind of leading into this. So my background, I'm an experienced entrepreneur. My first business was a robotics business. In that business, I raised about $34 million. I took the company public. We created the world's first consumer 3D touch robot. So we started with robots that cost tens of thousands of dollars and got them down to a consumer price point. And with that, got into the video game industry. And having a consumer level robotic device let us get into consumer applications, and we got into video games. And in the video game space, I licensed on the order of $100 million of video game development. And we licensed and got full source access to titles like Tiger Woods Golf, Madden Football, NBA Live, Need for Speed, Mass Effect, the Battlefield series, Half-Life 2, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2, Dirt, Grid. And some of those are top 10 game franchises of all time. And so we took our robot, integrated them with those games, and the robot was called the Novant Falcon. Integrated them with those games, and then we launched over 100 titles that worked with the robotic device. And then, to make a long story short, ultimately sold the IP to Facebook. So that was my first business, and Devio is my second big business. So the reason I wanted to give that background real quick is I'm an experienced entrepreneur and experienced veteran in the video game industry as a whole. I spent a lot of my career in the video game industry, and then I also am at an age where, like, I kind of grew up in the beginnings of the whole video game industry starting and growing. And so I had my Atari 2600 that I played when I was a kid. I played Myst on CD in the mid 90s, played EverQuest in the early 2000s, and so you have these kind of categories of games that really impact the space and impact really monetization strategies from a business perspective. So again, you have cartridges early on, and then the first Nintendo console, same thing, used cartridges. Again, you have Myst that had CD-ROMs. You have massively multiplayer online games, represents a whole new category of video games and the business behind it, and the economies that games like World of Warcraft created. Then you have kind of late 2000s where you start to have app stores come out, and then you have free to play games that are built on advertising models, or free to play games that then kind of get you hooked, and then you start buying gems, so Candy Crush Saga and Clash of Clans and games like that. And then kind of fast forward to more recently, you have the whole time you had games that you could just buy, but more recently a lot of games are free to play, like a game like Valorant, for example, where you it's free to play, jump in, have amazing kind of gameplay interactions, and then the only thing you buy is skins that are just kind of prestige within the games. So when you look at these kind of big milestones in the gaming industry and new categories of monetization and new categories of business models in the video game industry, blockchain gaming to me is one of those really big categories, one of a handful of 5 types of milestones in the video game industry. And the reason that it's such a big category is not what's happened already. It's not what's happened in the crypto space, where people are like, oh, this new thing, and like what's grown with Axie Infinity, and how that turned into play to earn, and then that's turned into ways that people were able to monetize it, and then make some money and have appreciation of assets and collectibles and things like that. There's going to be aspects of that in this new overall kind of blockchain gaming category, but the main thing that I really feel it's a category changer in the overall video game industry is the idea that you own the things that you play and earn. And so part of the result will be monetization for players and being able to sell the things that you own. But a lot of it is just that kind of fundamental root concept that you own the things that you create, and it's going to become table stakes. So if you play a AAA racing game and you spend 6 months playing it, and you've after the 6 months earned this sweet car, it's kind of a top end car, and you compare that experience with another AAA racing game where you had the same 6 months and got a sweet car, but you don't own it. And the first one, you own the car outside of the game's context. It's no one's going to play the old way. Everyone's going to want to play the way where you own the assets that you create. And as more and more companies, and more games and games become more modernized towards this concept, as more and more games start to have the concept where you own the assets that you create, players are going to be like, I don't want to play that old way anymore. I want to play the way that you own the games. And it still allows a lot of the old monetization models. You can still base things around advertising or skins or whatever, but people will insist on owning the items that they get in games outside of the game's context. And with that opens up entirely new business models and opens up marketplaces and ways to have cross-game pollination, have games that, like you could take, the car that you earn in a racing game, you own it outside the game's context, and somebody else's metaverse application bring the car in, and drive it around, and maybe craft an engine for that car in a third game, that type of thing. So those types of things, to me, that undoubtedly is the future of the video game industry. It's going to be a massive category. So I think people in the video game industry who have been dismissive or negative about blockchain gaming are missing kind of the big point right now. The big point is just going to be that players own the stuff they get in the game, and players are going to insist on it in the future.
That's exciting. I'm ready to play to own, and I believe the communities too. So those are the questions that I had prepared for you. Anything else you would like to update the community?
No, just I'll point out again, we've got our version 4 version of Litcraft Experience that really embraces this digital financial ecosystem, coming out on April 22nd again, April 22nd, 422, on 422-23. So this year. So we're just a few months out, and Litcraft Experience has been a good foundation for a lot of these things so far. But now with this broader idea of what a global digital financial ecosystem can be and how this could be a beachhead into it, we've put in a lot of new concepts that are kind of leading the way there. So I think it's going to be a really fun game for people to play, really compelling to earn with. Lots of new, mini, earning games that are kind of smaller games that you can come in and play, things like Sudoku and Solitaire and stuff. So really excited about that. So keep an eye out for the Earth Day launch of Litcraft Experience V4.
Perfect. And yes, follow us on the Telegram chat, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the channels, also on YouTube. And I hope to see you in the next video. And thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Belim, as always.
Bye-bye.
Bye.